you find it hard to write essays that try to describe maps? Hi, my name is Miracel, your IELTS expert, and today I'm going to show you an easy way on how you could write essays that describe maps. Okay, before we begin, let's try to define what an IELTS map is. Now, here is an example of an IELTS map. Usually, you will see two different maps described, and your task is to describe the changes. And one type would be describing changes that happened in the past and present, like in this case, in 2000 and today. Another type would be you'll be describing changes that would in two different time periods, say, for example, 2000 and 2010. Now, what do you need to do? First, you will need to write an introduction and then followed by an overview of the changes, and then you will need to describe the changes that have been described in those two time periods. Now, when you analyze a map, try to look for the major changes. So how do you then organize your paragraphs? So we could do is try to organize them according to location. Say, for example, in this case, we could divide it, the first body paragraph, we could focus on the city center. And then the body paragraph 2, we could focus on the changes that happen in the port area. Now, this is how your structure will look like. So first you have your introduction, followed by your overview, and then body paragraph 1 would be the city center, and then body paragraph 2 would be the port area. Now let's go to the introduction. So now you try to read the sample question. The maps below show changes in the Spanish city of Castellon in recent times. Then you try to reword it. This is how you reword. The two maps show the main changes which have taken place in the town of Castellon between 2000 and today. Now here, try to level up your words. You can use adjectives, main changes or major changes, and also level up your tenses. So here we have the present perfect tense, have taken place. After you have reworded your introduction, we now go to writing your overview. In your overview, just a one sentence is fine. Try to write down or note down what is the general overview. In general, it appears that Castellon has become a much more modern city with far more shopping and transport facilities. So try to use a lot of comparative words. Much more modern city, more shopping and transport facilities. Now, in describing the maps, it's important that you try to use the right tense. And in this case, we'll be using present perfect passive to describe changes that happened in the past and present. And we form it by using has for singular, have for plural plus been plus the past participle. Let's look at an example of how the present perfect passive is used. A new tram line has been built. Try to make sure that you use the correct subject-verb agreement. But take note that we don't use present perfect passive all the time. In these verbs like take place, become, change, or make way, you don't use a present perfect passive but use the active voice. A number of important changes have taken place. The city has become much more modern. The cinema was knocked down to make way for a new shopping center. And then when you're describing maps, try to use a lot of power words. So here are some ways of how you can describe different changes. Like in the first column, when you're trying to describe to make it bigger, you can say to enlarge the space, or the fields were expanded or extended, have been extended. And then for something that to describe how to take away, like the trees have been cut down, the buildings have been demolished or pulled down and removed or have been knocked down. And then when trying to describe, to add something new, you can say a school has been built or a church has been constructed, tower has been erected, or new cinemas have been introduced. And then for something that changed into something else, you can say has been converted into a mall, have turned into a hospital, or made into, have been replaced by, or have been transformed. And then when trying to make general statements about changes, you can say have been industrialized, have been modernized, have been urbanized, or have been redeveloped. So that's how you try to use power words when describing maps. And then now you're ready to write your body paragraphs. So this is how you apply it. One interesting change is that a new tramline has been built to connect the university with the town center. In 2000, there wasn't any accommodation for students, but a hall of residence has been built near the university. Another striking change is that the old market in the west of the city has been knocked down to make way for new shops. A completely new covered market has also been built on the other side of town. So try to use as much, you know, vocabulary, making use of strong adjectives. Now, let's move on to body paragraph 2 describing the port area. If we look at the port area, it has been pedestrianized since 2000 and a range of entertainment facilities have been built, such as cinemas, bars, and clubs. The northeast of the city used to be a green area with lots of trees, but the trees have been cut down and a new shopping complex has been constructed. A final interesting development has been the introduction of a bike rental scheme in the city center. There you go. As you can see, it's not very hard to write essays that describe math. So if you want a free IELTS Task 1 course, I have one just for you. So I'll put the link below. And if you have any questions, just comment and I'll be glad to answer your question.